All right, let's get into it. Today, we are talking about a massive shift that's happening in industrial commerce, pretty much right under our noses. And look, this isn't just about some new software. We're talking about a full-on cognitive revolution. Artificial intelligence is literally rewriting the rules for how manufacturers buy and sell things. So let's unpack what that actually looks like.
But first, we have to ask a really important question. For all the talk about digital transformation, why does so much of B2B commerce still feel so clunky, so inefficient? Why does it feel like we're just using systems that were designed decades ago, but with a slick modern coat of paint slapped on top?
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. For years, going digital just meant, taking a paper catalog and saving it as a PDF, or taking a phone order and turning it into a clunky web form. We never actually fixed the underlying process. We just paved over these old, winding, inefficient cow paths with digital asphalt. Well, that era, it's officially over. Which brings us right to our first section, the industrial ticking clock. We are moving way beyond just digitizing old processes. We're now entering an age of intelligent autonomy. And for businesses that don't adapt, believe me, the clock is ticking. And if you think this is some niche trend or prediction for the distant future, think again. A staggering 89%, that's nearly everyone, of industry professionals expect AI to be the single biggest changemaker in the next 3 to 5 years. The train has already left the station, and pretty much everyone sees it coming down the track. So what's really driving this? Honestly, it's basic economics. The old way of doing things, with field sales reps, manual order entry for every single little thing, it's just gotten way too expensive to maintain, especially now with all the skilled labor shortages. The whole model is just collapsing under its own weight, and AI is really the only viable path forward. Okay, but before we can get to all the cool stuff that AI can do, we have to talk about its biggest roadblock. And that is the dirty data problem. This right here is the absolute foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. You've heard the saying a million times, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Well, for industrial AI, this is its Achilles heel. See, manufacturing data is uniquely messy. Think about it. Millions of parts, and each one might have hundreds of technical specs, totally inconsistent naming, and all this crucial tribal knowledge that's just locked away in some engineer's head or buried in a 20-year-old PDF. AI just can't work with that kind of chaos. So here's the crazy paradox. AI needs clean data, but it's also the best tool we have to create that clean data. It's pretty methodical. First, it just pulls out all the key info from those messy, unstructured files. Then it normalizes everything. So inches, in, and the little double quote symbol all get standardized to mean the same thing. And finally, it intelligently flags and fills in the missing pieces, creating a perfect, pristine data set for itself to use. And this transition requires a whole new way of thinking about your tech architecture. Instead of those old, slow, monolithic ERP systems, the leading companies are moving to something called an AI-enabled data fabric. Just think of it like a smart, flexible layer that sits right on top of your old systems. It unifies all your data and makes it instantly available for AI. The best part? It's all about speed and agility, not some massive, multi-year rip-and-replace project. Okay, so once we get that data foundation right, now we get to the really exciting part. Section 3. AI's new superpowers. This is where we see AI completely change the game for the core parts of commerce: how we find things, how we price them, and how we deliver them. Let's start with something we've all been frustrated by: search. Old keyword search is just painfully literal. You search for a corrosion-resistant valve, and if a product is described as stainless steel, you're never going to find it. But AI-powered vector search, it understands the meaning, the context. It knows that stainless steel and rust-proof are related to corrosion resistance, so it shows you all the right stuff. This is a quantum leap forward. So how on earth does that work? Well, vector search basically turns words, and even pictures, into a kind of numerical fingerprint that represents their meaning. That's what lets it understand synonyms and really complex ideas. And yeah, you heard that right. It means a technician out in the field can literally snap a photo of a broken part with their phone and instantly find the exact replacement in the catalog. It's incredible. AI's second superpower is taking on the ridiculously complex configure price quote process, or CPQ. Instead of some engineer having to maintain thousands of brittle, hard-coded rules, the AI just learns which product combinations are valid by looking at past orders.
It then guides the buyer to the right solution and spits out a perfect quote in seconds, not days. And the results here are just mind-blowing. This isn't just about saving a little time. Companies that put these AI tools in place are reporting revenue increases of 20%. Why? It's simple. A faster, more accurate quoting process means you win more deals. Period. All right, the third superpower connects what the customer sees online with what's actually happening in the real world. AI-driven, available to promise doesn't just check a box to see if something's in stock. No, it analyzes real-time inventory. It looks at production schedules. It even checks logistics and traffic data to give a super accurate, reliable delivery date. It turns that buy button into a promise you can actually keep. So let's push this even further. We're about to get into something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but it's happening. And it's happening fast. Section 4. Enter the machine customer. We are actively building a world where our customers are not always human. 15 billion. Just think about that number for a second. What could that possibly be? That is the number of connected devices, everything from factory pumps to jet engines, that are expected to be acting as independent customers by 2028. An air compressor on a factory floor will diagnose that it needs a new filter, it will find the best supplier, it will negotiate the price, and it will place the order, all by itself, with zero human intervention. So the big question is, where do people fit in? And this is so important. This doesn't get rid of human jobs, it elevates them. That tedious order taker role, yeah, that's going to disappear. Instead, sales professionals become more like agent managers. Their job is to set the strategy and the goals for a whole fleet of autonomous AI agents. The work shifts from plugging in orders to high-level strategy. So how do we get from where we are today to that future? That brings us to our final section, a practical roadmap to the year 2030 and the beginning of the truly autonomous enterprise. The path forward really happens in phases. Right now, through 2026, we're in what you could call the cleanup phase, just using AI to get our data in order. Then from about 2027 to 2028, we hit the integration phase. This is where dynamic pricing and machine customers start to become standard. And finally, by 2030, we'll be in the agentic phase, where autonomous AI is handling most of the routine B2B buying and selling. So what should you do right now? Here are 3 concrete actions. First, invest in cleaning up your data. Do it now, don't wait. Second, start preparing for machine customers. That means making sure your systems can speak their language, the language of APIs. And third, start reskilling your people. Train them for a future where their job is to manage the AI, not just follow a process. We'll end with this thought. This whole transformation, it's not just another IT upgrade. It is a fundamental rewrite of your company's entire operating code. The future of industry really does belong to the intelligent. So the only question you have to ask yourself is, are you ready?